the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
What does hustle hard mean to you? What does that signify in your life?
That's a lifestyle for me. You know what I mean? Like, true story, I was born into a family in a community of hustlers. Now let's get focused right quick, because when people hear the word hustler, they confuse it with con artists or something negative. So they like to call people entrepreneurs, right? But the definition, and I'm paraphrasing, but the definition of hustle is forced movement or to be hurried, right? But we're not talking about just pushing other people. Sometimes you got to push yourself, and that what makes you a hustler. True story. So the thing about it is, like, when it comes to hustling, listen, quick story. I used to go buy juleps a lot, right? And my grandmother used to make me clean the yard, shovel snow, do things like that to go get a julep. But one day she was like, look, you putting all your money in someone else's pocket.
Word.
Save those quarters, and I can teach you how to make a formula, and you can sell your own juleps. You understand? So the next couple weeks, I saved my money.
Always a hustler.
Listen,
Got to love it.
hey, but think
Everybody
about
got
this.
a grandma story like that.
Grandmothers are the natural hustlers because they were the ones who maintained and sustained our families through epidemics. You're talking Big Mama went through slavery and held it. You're talking Big Mama went through the Depression and held it. Big Mama went through crack and held it and still maintains it today. So if you don't think you come from a hustler, then you don't know where you come from. You understand?
That's so real.
I began to sell juleps, and ever since then, I capture a hustle. And a hustle is not a swindle. It's not a sneaky thing. It's up front. You're providing a need. You understand? So you're the bridge. If you're a true hustler, you're trying to be the bridge. If somebody's on one side and they need to get the other, you're trying to be the bridge, fill in the gap. So hustling is a lifestyle. It's not something you can do 10 minutes out the day. It has to be something you live.
Word.
Hey, what's up? This is Nate, host of the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Tune in every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live, here live on BeExposedRadio.com. Check out this flashback from the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
That's the biggest thing, is just empowerment. Just get off of the begging line. Just be proud and just get our pride and our dignity back, because as a child, we're taught how to go and beg for a job. Our parents, they literally taught us how to make sure you pull your pants up. Me, I'm 6'7", so I'm a bigger man. I was always taught how to not be threatening or intimidate people when I go into different interviews or different scenarios. And so we're literally taught how to condition ourselves, condition our speech, everything, in order to go and beg these people for a job, because we know when we walk in the door, I have to tear down 10 stereotypes before I get past hello. So we need to eliminate that. And we need to eliminate that, and the way that we do that is employing ourselves and employing our brothers and sisters. And so that's our mission, is group economics, uplift ourselves, because I can't empower anyone until I empower myself, and change from just being willing, because it's in my heart and my passion to see my people succeed and see us do better and change the social order, because I know that we are not supposed to be on bottom. I understand who I was. I know I didn't fall out of the sky and land on a plantation. So when you have knowledge of self and you know who you are and what you come from, it's frustrating more than anything to see us in this position.
Tune into the Artist Exchange every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Live. Be Exposed Radio.
Or tuned in to BeExposedRadio.com.
Not what's going to happen.
That's exactly.
Do y'all think that we're about to go to war with North Korea?
We're going to get tracked down, huh?
Do you think North Korea is going to bomb us? Is it going to be like a nuclear?
Probably.
No. Probably.
We lost all our allies.
Yep.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Now, is that because of...
Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Starts now.
Welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host, Mr. Nate Couser. I'm in here alone today. So yeah. So a little bit about my week. For starters, well, I'm gonna start off with a quote, and I'm gonna try to do that more often. I was talking to this random individual last week sometimes. And normally when I'm like out, I'm a little bit oblivious. I try not to be like stuck in my phone because that's a bad habit. But I was talking to a gentleman that was in line. We was just in line, and he said something random to me, and I think the way I came off probably alluded that I may have had an attitude problem. I don't know, but I was feeling good. But so he just started talking to me and about his addictions, and I am that person that when people see them in public, they tell their deepest, darkest secrets to. Like, this has happened to me many times on a train or on a bus ride or, you know, sitting somewhere randomly, like normally when I'm by myself, but somehow, even when I'm with people some kind of gravitate towards our table or where we are or where I'm at by myself and just start talking about relationship stuff, about personal stuff. Well, this man was talking about addictions, and he was really telling me about himself as a younger person, like in his 20s and 30s, and how his arrogance kind of got the best of him, and he got addicted, you know, to drugs, such and such, and now he's you know, in his 40s, he's recovered and he's doing much better in his life. And he was just telling me about how at moments when he's not focused on where he's going, he often resorts back to that addictive personality that lies within him, that lies dormant inside of him. And when he gave me advice, he told me a man without focus on his future will always resort back to his past. And that's what he left me with. He said that, and then he just walked away. So apparently I needed to hear that. And it kind of stayed in my head for a couple of days. And when something like that normally happens, I'll write it like as my Facebook post. It was, you know, and as I began to think about it and kind of sit on it a little bit, it kind of spoke to a lot of people that I had in my space and in my circle. Sometimes when you're not focused on what you're here to do, you often resort to things that are not supposed to be in your way or in your eyesight or in your travels or in your road or path or whatever. The distractions or things that set you back often causes you not to move forward. And it was really interesting because I've been meeting a lot of interesting individuals within networking circles and just in my moving around, and a lot of them have been giving me really great advice, and it's really showing me who I am as a person and as an individual. And I'm really thankful for the young man that well, yeah, I can still say young. I'm a millennial, so I can still say young. The young man that I am and I'm becoming and I was. I'm so thankful for lessons and blessings and hurdles and obstacles and just windfalls and just opportunities to do better, to see better, to be around better. And this year has been a year about just clearing out anything that even remotely causes me a distraction, including myself. You know, sometimes I can get into my imagination and just go somewhere. And I had to refocus my energy and really ask myself at the end of last year and at the very beginning of this year, what is it that I wanted and how I wanted to go about doing it. And I prayed to my God and asked, you know, just for clarity, you know, eliminate people out of my space that aren't necessarily bad for me, but that are a distraction, and just give me time to really get myself together. And me getting myself together, I really had to just stop talking to people. And that's hard for me because I'm a real good friend. I'm not the best like son at times or brother, but I'm a really good friend. I really am always, even if I'm not speaking, I'm there for people. And I haven't been that last year. I wasn't really acting on that as much. And often it was distracting me from myself. I had a really bad habit of putting myself in spaces and opportunities that were for other people, and I was not finding the me in those moments, even though I was destined to be in that moment or things lined up for me to be there. I wasn't really paying attention to what I needed and really just simply what I wanted. So now I think I have a better idea of what it is that I want, and I'm learning myself every day. So I don't feel like I have all the answers, but I definitely, I feel more connected to who I am and the things that I want and my purpose and how I'm going to get there. And subsequently, I got to do a career fair this weekend, this week actually, and I spoke at Reginald F. Lewis High School. And I haven't really been in a classroom for the last like 6 months. And I did not want to go back to teaching because I really wasn't finding solace in that. I became a teaching artist because it gave me a paycheck when I didn't have a gig or I wasn't in some play or doing something creative. It gave me purpose, and it allowed me to still do what it is that I love to do, and not only do it but teach it to other people. So it really gave me an opportunity to just talk to a bunch of young people, and I got to talk to some of them. And Mr. Eric has a couple fans at the Reginald F. Lewis High School. He don't think so, but they did, you know. Yeah, so after talking to a lot of them, I really realized sometimes to get back to where you are, like for me, my imagination is kind of the source of all my creativity. You know, I can see things and imagine things, and my energy is all about making those things happen and recreating them in real life. And often for me, that's another reason I kind of held on to being a teaching artist, because it left me around young people and they have no fears often, or they often don't have fears that adults may have, whereas though they're worrying about bills and stuff like that. And I'm not here to speak for all of them, because there are some young people out here that are living as if they're adults already, which is sad. But it really put me in touch with speaking to them young people at that school. Kind of put me in touch with some of my the source of what I was, because a lot of them were interested in being artists and working, and some of them were really professional, and some of them were like really blowing off the opportunity to talk to people that could help them move forward, like most of us did when we were in school and people came to talk to us. But it really made me remember what it is that I want to do and how I love, one, being around young people. Like, it really just, I love giving back. I didn't often have individuals that paid attention to me. I had a lot of nurturing growing up and a lot of people telling me what to do, but I didn't have a lot of people paying attention to me. You know, people don't often talk to young people. So every chance I get, no matter how old or young you are, I always ask people how they're doing, or, you know, what's next, or, you know, is there anything I can do to help? Because I know what that feels like, to feel like you don't have anybody to turn to. And not necessarily always because, you know, my mom wasn't there, but often she wasn't. She had to work. So, you know, I found myself by myself, you know, watching TV or cutting something up, or just doing something creative often. Or just, I was a career student, meaning I got up before anybody in my neighborhood was up and out, and often came back after they had already got home from work and school. So I felt like I was a working child as a young person, going to the schools that I was going to that was busing across the town, across the city and stuff like that. So really talking to those young people this weekend really gave me kind of an advantage to what I really wanted. I remembered what I wanted again. And sometimes you can lose that in the monotony of being an adult, or being busy and trying to build, especially with being an entrepreneur. For me, being an art entrepreneur. You're always doing something. You're always active. You're always trying to be focused on the next thing. And it really just gave me an opportunity to just sit and listen. And most of the time, it was a number of us there talking to them. And I kind of went in the very beginning, so I got to sit and listen to all of them, all of the other speakers and presenters talk. So I found myself just watching the young people and just seeing who was paying attention, who was taking heed, and just remembering where I was when I was in high school, and really going back to that moment. So shout out to the Fashion Umbrella for calling on me to sit in for her, Miss Sharon Nixon, this week at Reginald F. Lewis High School. I didn't even know that was there. Apparently, Reginald F. Lewis High School is was the old Northern High School. So over there by McLean and Dutch Village, stuff like that. So I didn't even know that they had changed up the schools, but hey, you learn something new every day. But so talking about the Fashion Umbrella Foundation, they have an impact award honoring individuals within the community that go beyond and do innovative things. And actually this year I've been honored for one of their impact awards, and that it will be March the 24th at, I believe it's 7 p.m. At the Columbus Center down at the Inner Harbor, right across from, I believe that's the aquariums, right next to the aquarium. And I'm really honored to be selected as one of the honorees this year. And you can actually come out and help me support the foundation. The foundation is the Fashion Umbrella Foundation. It's the organization that puts on Baltimore Fashion Week. Ms. Sharon Nixon, and they honor young people as well. They have an educational honors as well, similar to the Impact Awards for students who excel in their grades and attendance. And that foundation, the Fashion Umbrella Foundation, helps young people all throughout the year with school supplies and workshops and linking them up to workplace environments, so on and so forth. So if you want your young person to be a part of the Fashion Umbrella's educational honors, you can actually still sign up. Go to the Fashion Umbrella, thefashionumbrella.org, and sign up. You have until June, I believe, the 30th to sign up. And all they need is a 2.5 grade point average or higher, or they could, so a 2.5 grade point average at least, and perfect attendance. So combined, they could be nominated for award, Educational Honors Award. But the Fashion Umbrella also does the Impact Award, which is a fundraiser for their educational program, and they give back to young people. So I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the Artist Exchange Radio Show only on BigExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere. The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. is going to come out. And exactly. Just don't do it.
If you ain't looking for the truth, don't come to me.
Don't do it, because I can't hold my tongue. And she wants to be this stylist, boutique, but you're not doing anything in that nature. And I can't take you seriously if you're not doing those things. And I understood why people didn't take me seriously, because I found myself in somebody else's lane. I was good at what I was doing and what I wanted to be, but I wasn't doing it for me. So how can I ask you to take me seriously if I'm living in somebody else's shoes?
And nobody can do what you do. And I think that that's a big problem that people face now. Like, you see what somebody else is doing and you want to do that when that's not your lane.
That's not your lane.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's popular. It's getting that person money. It's getting that person applause. Oh, I want applause. I want money. Let me stand over here behind them.
And then a lot of times people aren't honest with themselves either. Like, I was thinking earlier today, I've been woke for almost 2 days, so So you get on the seat, yes. And I was thinking, like,
The Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Check out this snippet from the new season of Talk Lately with Monty about Jennifer Holliday.
Anyway, let's get back to
Yeah, well, what I wanted to say is that I can understand 100% where Jennifer Holliday is coming from, and that's sort of kind of where my 20% came from. When I basically came out and said who I voted for, I received a lot of backlash. Even on my own talk show, which comes on every Monday from 5 to 7 p.m., I was called a coon. Okay, yeah, shout out for the plug. But yeah, someone actually, they told CJ Bernie that I was a coon, and that really hurt me. I've been called everything from a fat whatever and everything, but someone actually commented on his Facebook.
I didn't even say that. That's kind of rough.
Called me a coon, but it's like it's crazy because I just feel like someone like Jennifer Holliday. I understand why she stepped down, but I'm kind of upset with her because I think she still should have performed. If you're gonna jump out there, then stand in your truth. Don't let no one stop you or change your mind about anything. And listen, no one put a gun to her head and made her sign on for that. But it just seems like, she was basically, she was bullied.
But see, the thing about it is they will put a gun to her head to not do it.
I don't think so.
Well, that's what the threat says. You got to say it's why it's called a threat. You don't know the hypotheticals in there that could happen to you.
Why do you think
she's not a well-known singer, so she's not going around with security. As soon as she goes to get her tracks at the mall,
right?
Pow!
Right, but at the same time,
we got a whole bunch of dead cats.
Yeah, but like what she said in the footage, today on The View was basically it's not white people who was threatening her. It was us who was threatening her.
Right. Where do you think she live? I think she live in Atlanta.
Exactly.
They gonna get her at the Ku Klux Klan mall and drag her by her hair. Her hair made a cat. She got the new weave.
I don't have Jennifer Holliday money, honey.
Yeah,
I don't know what it might be because it's. I don't got Jennifer Holliday money, but me personally, I feel as though like I said, once I kind of came out, and even being on this show, because I'm pretty sure the headline says Trump supporter, I'm putting a lot of myself out there. You know what I'm saying? So I get it.
Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Monty from Talk Lately. I want y'all to sit back and listen to this flashback. We be tripping.
I mean, really, but I mean, he might have. I got him maybe jacking her up.
The kids said he did it.
But this is Floyd Mayweather punching her head repeatedly, and like she doesn't have like brain damage.
No, she didn't have brain damage. I don't think he was hitting her like that. Or he probably was like, say something else. Say something else.
That
he probably wasn't like tagging her.
Right.
He probably was just like, and the kids was like, Daddy.
Starts
Why
now.
do they have the accent? Why? Why do his kids have the accent?
I just pictured them looking like African.
Exposed Radio.
Well, if you made them, take care of them.
Yeah, that's
Period.
the real.
You're right.
That's the real deal.
TGIW, everybody.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
So, since we're talking about the book, can you give people a synopsis of what the book is and what's the name of the book again, and then what it's about?
The name of the book is From Trial to Afflictions.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up, and welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't forget, we need your help. So help Be Exposed Radio, the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Share this out, like it, let people know what's going on. You can also give us a call and tell me how much you love me. I appreciate that. 410-702-5657. Also, we have some awesome sponsorship ideas, packages, and prices that can help you promote your business and your service and your upcoming events, so on and so forth. If you went during the commercial breaks, you'll see the revolving video clip that's going around. That's one of our popular options. You can get that and get your business seen from all the shows that come throughout the station throughout the week. So definitely stay locked and stay tuned in for more information, if you want more information on how to promote your business or your brand, you can hit us up at the Artist Exchange Radio Show at gmail.com. And let me know that you're interested in getting your business advertised on our station. Also, if you're interested in joining our station here at BigExposedRadio.com, it's very affordable, and we can help you start your show, bring your show over, or revamp a show that you had already did and you want to bring it back to life or bring it over to the station. Definitely hit us up at info@beexposedradio.com, and let me know that you want, say, Nate, I want a show, and I'll get back to you. Can you hear me? So back to our conversation. So today is just a bunch of hot topics. I'm your host, Nate Couser. So again, I ask you if you could just share this out, let people know what's going on. I'll definitely appreciate that. So last night I went to an art opening, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later because I'm going to try to call in the writer of Water in a Broken Glass. It was a phenomenal movie. We got to meet a number of, well, actually all of the actors from the show. It was a great movie, really well done. Shout out to Jamel Thompson for making such a great movie. I really enjoyed myself. We've had Miss Odessa on a number of times, and we had a few of her actors on and a couple that called in. We met Miss Lucilla of Young and the Restless last night. She was one of the actresses and one of the stars of the movie. Really phenomenal, and I'm reaching out to her to actually bring her on the show. She has a book out, The Women Who Raised Me. It kind of accounts her story of growing up in the foster care system and the many different types of families that she lived with, and she is an advocate for foster care and children and so on and so forth. And she's a big component of the Me Too movement. So stay tuned for that. That should be coming up soon. So, and some other information about what's going on. So for the month of March, we actually will have an abbreviated live show, and we'll be doing some tapings and some live broadcasts from outside the studio. The next 2 weeks, we will be getting ready to change locations and stuff. So definitely stay tuned for that. Stay locked in for more information. Be Exposed Radio Station. It's been awesome, and it's been a phenomenal opportunity, and I want to help you all come on to it. So like I said, email us at info@beexposedradio.com and let us know that you want a show, you want to start a show, you want to bring your show over, and we're here to help you do all those things. The Artist Exchange Radio Show is here for you, and we are so happy to have so many different artists on here. And my focus is talking to artists and just sharing our stories and allowing artists to be more engaging and sharing the non-creative stuff, the things that inspires our creativity often with all of you listeners. And it's been my pleasure to be doing this for almost 4 years now. And I really have enjoyed this process, and it's brought so much out of me that I didn't know existed. And I'm really thankful to everybody that continues to support the show. Shout out to many of our sponsors, like the Peel Center. Phenomenal organization. I want everybody to go to thepeelcenter.org. Check them out. It's an awesome rental space. They're doing a lot of rehab renovations on the building. So in the next 2 years, it's going to really evolve into this awesome building. It's right down on Holiday Street across from the City Hall. If you know where the Real News Network is, it's right there. And it's next to the new Ida B's table. The food is great. If you want a really good meal, and it's really good, it's not all greasy, but it's soul food and it's really good. It's really filling. They give you huge portions, so definitely go on down there. But the Peel Center I'll be working with them with their advertisement and their social media. So I'll be helping them with that. And we actually will be shooting a movie there. So I was directing a play called Blueprints, and now it's being turned into an actual short film, and it will be shot there. So look out for that this summer. blueprints written by LaTanya Valencia Moss. And I'll be having the flyers and all that stuff coming out in the next couple weeks. Also, the Pill Center, they have an app. It's called the IZI.travel. Go to your Play, what's it called? Your Google Play, or wherever you download your apps, and download the app. It's called the Izzy app, IZI.travel. And basically, it's a geotagging storytelling app. So you can download the app and click in your information, and it goes based on actually where you are. And you download so you can record live your story, or record something, or record snippets of your event. And then you can, I don't know the length, but you can get quite some time in there. And you download it, and then when you save it, it locates where you are. So when somebody else walks through that neighborhood and they're on their app, they can actually hear your story being played, or they can go right to the app and just locate you and hear your story as well. So that's the Izzy app, IZI.travel, and it's a phenomenal app. And we're going to be bringing on some of the people who have told their story, so look out for that. We're going to take another quick break. The next segment, we're going to actually play my interview with Mr. Miles Banks of Just Stunt Productions. He's a phenomenal young man. I actually went to middle school with him, and he has this weekly blog called Motivational Mondays, and I was his interviewee on this past Monday. So we're going to hear that. So stay tuned, stay locked in for that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com.
So since we're talking about the book, can you give people a synopsis of what the book is, and what's the name of the book again, and then what it's about?
The name of the book is From Trial to Afflictions, more than one, because there were more than one afflictions.
Yes.
The book is talking about, actually, it's my life story. And I have to add in there that when that prophet told me, he said, tell your story, write the story. He said, and God said, tell your addiction. Now, see, I'm not going to tell the addiction because you have to get the book to read it. But it was about deliverance. It was about all the, trials and tribulations we go through. People that come into our life, even people that come to try and break you down or draw you down so that you can't stand for God or worship Him through your situation, because that's the adversary using them. We have to know that. But through it all, I was still praying and fasting. I needed help from God. I really did. I needed help from God to see me through. And for anyone that's going through, I say that this book is about different afflictions.
Yes.
Going through them, how you get through them. And I had a sister pushing me too, praying for me. I thank God for that again.
Yes.
But it also talks about deliverance. There is deliverance in the process.
Yes.
And you have to be willing to see yourself first, to know that you need deliverance.
Outside radio show.
I'm going for shellacking.
Ooh.
And another good stat, Miami has never beat Carolina at home.
Really?
Ever.
Okay.
Right, but the one good thing Miami can say is that they have safety T.J. McDonald. He's back off of his 8-game suspension, so he'll be out there lurking and trying to make it hard for Cam Newton in the offense. And then also, we have to make note that they just let go of Kelvin Benjamin.
Yep.
So that's kind of one less weapon that the Carolina Panthers have. So it'll be interesting to see how everybody will adjust to the changes that has happened over the past week and a half. You got a
Just a Bit Outside radio show every Monday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Tune in.
When you look at the way other groups do with their children, like black people, our main concern seems to always be making sure they play football. And I like football like the next person, but the reality is, statistically, your child has a better chance of being an astronaut than becoming an NFL football player. So I don't understand the emphasis where we all just always...
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
And now, for our feature presentation, a web series that combines motivation, positivity, and a godly message. It is my great pleasure to announce Season 3 of Motivation on Monday!
What's going on? It's your boy, Miles Banks. I'm here with another special guest, Mr. Nate the Great.
Nate the Great. I've been called that since probably high school.
Yeah, it rhymes, so it's kind of catchy.
I don't even know where that came from, actually.
It's just the greatness. The greatness. It's in you, I guess. But, yeah, man. So starting off, where are you from and who are you and where you from?
Well, I'm from Baltimore. I was raised here, went to school here, lived here up into the beginning of last year.
Wow. So what do you do?
I'm a full-time artist, radio personality. I run this illustrious station that we're sitting in.
Yes, sir. It is nice.
And an actor, director.
Wow. How'd you get involved with like all those elements? Was it just like, this is what I wanted to do, or this just kind of happened?
I've always been an artist. Elementary school, I started out the oratory contest, doing little short plays, and that just went into middle school, high school, and then eventually I got to college and settled in on majoring in acting.
Awesome. So you do the Artist Exchange, is that right? So what is the Artist Exchange?
The Artist Exchange started out as just an organization, well, not even an organization, wasn't that serious, a group to help keep my fellow Coppenites from my urban art and production major at Coppin together, keep us connected, let us be able to communicate, because we all branched out after Coppin. And it was just a way of keeping us all together and informed and just seeing what people are doing and how we can support each other.
Wow.
It eventually grew into me doing programming with other people. And it became kind of my management company for my own personal career as an artist. And then that just all my connections and all my collaborations, it then turned into how I presented my work and what I wanted to do. I started doing events and directing shows and producing art things like art events, and then it eventually just grew naturally into a radio show format.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Who wakes up and thinks, oh, I'm gonna be doing this and that? That's a lot of stuff to do, man.
I get bored quickly and easily, and I like to just switch it up, keep it moving. I like to always be doing something, so
Got you.
It befits me to wear many different hats within the arts.
And how long have you done the Artist Exchange? Is this a new thing or for a while?
It's been a radio show for the last 3 years, an event organization for the last almost 10 years now, and it started about 10 years ago when I was at Coppin.
That's a long time, man. So a decade. Wow. So talk about the growth. Like, I imagine that the Artist Exchange wasn't always as big as it is now, right?
It started out really small, like I said, at Coppin, but just the growth of it happened as I naturally grew as a man, as an artist, and just as a person in general. My reach grew, so apparently, the people you come in contact with then become a part of what you're doing. So as I met new people, as I grew, I've been in theater companies for the last 10 years, my school, community theater companies, and just working as an artist. I met so many different artists along the way and cultivated those relationships. And now the Artist Exchange, the group that initially started it all out on Facebook, when Facebook first started out with just 20 of us at Coppin and steadily grew, and I believe we're up to 4,500 people now.
That's amazing. Wow. So just having that dream and that foresight of what you wanted to accomplish turned into something that's even bigger than you now.
I didn't intend for it to be, the Artist Exchange to be anything professional. It was just a way of just networking and staying in touch with people.
Wow.
But it then grew to be, people started hiring the Artist Exchange to do stuff. And I was like, I need to make this legitimate so I can get some of these Artist Exchange checks that people were donating and So that's how I got my first check for the Artist Exchange, written out to the Artist Exchange. And I couldn't cash it because it wasn't a business. So that's how it became then a business.
Got you. So it's 2018, man. What's the plans for this year?
Well, our theme for the Artist Exchange this year is Let's Go Get It.
Let's go get it.
And it's just stepping out on fear, not just jumping, but just going after what it is that you're here for. Figuring out your purpose, developing a strategy, planning, and just executing it. Just that simple, just that plain. Don't make it more complicated. Don't wait. Don't try to create alliances. Don't, try to gather a team. Do what you can do with what you have.
Right.
And then everything else will come in time. And when I started doing that, everything else started kind of falling into place.
That's important, man. We were actually just talking about that earlier. Like, just take the first step. Like, don't be afraid to go and do what you're called to do. It's better to take a step and fail rather than to not take a step at all.
Right. I mean, and you really figure those things out along the way, but you got to get out there and do it. When you're sitting in your mind planning, those incidentals, those failures don't come up. And if they do, it prevents you from trying it.
Yeah.
So do it, fail, stumble, succeed, and keep it moving.
Yes, for sure.
You can't be afraid to be successful or be. It's a real fear, and it's valid, but you can't let that stop you.
Wow, I'm feeling inspired, man. So, just going back to the Artist Exchange, where can we find the Artist Exchange? Are you guys on social media? Where you at?
Primarily, we're on Facebook. We have a group. The Artist Exchange. Just look for our banner at the top because somebody else started the Artist Exchange group.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not hating. There's room for everybody. But just look for our banner at the top. And then we have a radio show page as well where you can follow and subscribe and see the upcoming events through the radio show. The group is more for individuals to post their creative work, network with other people. There are over 4,500 members in the group from all over the world.
Wow.
So I've been able to interview a lot of those people. A lot of the people that we do pull into our radio show and we do book for our events come from that group first. But you can post your work there. The radio show page is just about getting information, but the group you can actually post. And then you have we're on Twitter and Instagram, and that's kind of a calabash of everything the Artist Exchange is. So you'll see upcoming events. We advertise our sponsorship there, our shows, our events, our radio show. So it's kind of a collection of everything.
Got you. So what's the name of it? If I wanted to go Google it, what would I type in?
For Facebook, it's the Artist Exchange / group. And then the Facebook page for the radio show is the Artist Exchange Radio Show. You can find us on YouTube at the Artist Exchange. Our website is still under construction, but it is www.theartistexchange.org. You can still go there and subscribe, and then once it goes live, then you'll be able to get updates and information on upcoming events. The Artist Exchange on Instagram is _artist_exchange, and Twitter is the same. I haven't really branched out beyond that.
Yeah, I think that's good for right now.
Mine is kind of like scattered already.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But we do Tumblr and all those things, but it's more so just sharing things from the other platforms to those things.
Got you. Man, so go check it out, man. The Artist Exchange, man, it's a big movement that's going on in Baltimore City, man. I'm trying to get involved myself so I can be inspired and so I can take things to the next level and live in my purpose as well.
There we go.
So speaking of purpose, man, like, do you feel like this is what you're called to do?
I'm learning it. I really do feel like it's my purpose, but at moments it can become too much.
Yeah.
Because you have to balance who you are as an individual versus what your work is, because your work is for everybody else.
Yeah.
And you are an individual, and you have to sometimes balance that. And in the past, I wasn't good at balancing. Everything went into what I was doing and who I was working with, and I didn't really put a lot of energy into who I was and what I wanted.
So how do you balance that? Where's the point?
I say no. I've learned how to say no. I've learned when to say no. I've learned how to say no. I learned who to say no to. No is a powerful word that we all need to learn how to manage. Don't say no for the sake of just, I know how to say no now, but I've learned how to say no. And I've learned how to say yes.
Yeah.
It's balance.
Right.
So learning to say yes, learning to say no. And you balance that off. And it all centers around what makes you happy.
Yeah.
If this isn't making me happy, if it isn't adding to my life, if it ain't benefiting me, no.
Yeah, and I think it's following your purpose too. I always have a conversation in my mind, and I'm talking to God when my life is over, and I don't want God to say, "Man, I wanted you to do this, this, and that." So it's just like I feel like while I'm here, I have to live in my purpose and do what I'm called to do. And I feel like when you do that, like your life is much happier. It's a different world from when you're doing what you're called to do, and then when you're not doing what you're supposed to do. It's completely
There's
different.
a lot of people out there that are successful at whatever they're doing, but they're not happy at what they're doing because they're not living in their purpose, or they're living in somebody else's dream, or they saw a strategy that worked for somebody else, and now I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And we see a lot of people that are out there doing that, trying to reach out for fame or that $1 million promise, and it's not happening for them. Or they get to a level of success and it all come crashing down when they're depressed because you're living outside of your purpose, and you have to live within your purpose. And it's not like putting you in a box, but stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Like, do what's comfortable. It's okay to have a dream. It's okay to work for somebody else's dream while you're paying for your dream. But the moment you got it, you got it. It's not enough money you can save. It's not enough planning you can do, because something's always going to happen outside of what you planned or what you prepared for. But no great dream has ever been achieved waiting. And if it did happen, somebody else fulfilled it because you waited.
Right.
So you have to make sure and make time for what you want.
Man, just
who you are.
Just wrapping it up, man. If there's a person out there, young, old, medium age, whatever age,
Right.
all age groups, if you could say something to inspire them to follow their dream, what would you tell them?
I would say figure out what your dreams are, what your goals are, and make it happen. That idea of being a boss, it's great to say it. It's great to have a t-shirt with it written on it. But if you're not really making other people's life more successful and bigger, then you can't call yourself that. You can't be that. And it's all about just knowing what you want and not being afraid to go out and get it. And not by any means necessary. I don't like when people say that, but really making really making your dreams happen, and not being afraid to fail or fall short. Success is only as good as the failure that it's followed by, or what has happened to you. How all those bruises and scrapes and bumps, they're there for a reason. It strengthens you and makes you more of a success when it actually does happen to you. And just know success is not a destination. It's the journey that it took to get there. That's
Awesome.
what makes you successful.
Dropping jewels on y'all, man. So y'all stay tuned, locked and loaded. Motivational Monday. It's 2018. Let's go get it, man. Here with Nate the Great, man. We're going to keep inspiring you guys. Stay tuned, stay locked and loaded. It's our time.
See you later. You just got to be ready. In those moments when you're feeling your worst, learn a monologue or paint a picture or create a project or, create an idea for something that you want to do. So when opportunity comes for you to be able to do it, then you're able and you're ready. That was Motivational Monday with Mr. Miles Banks. I was just interviewed for this past Monday. Check him out every Monday at Just Stunt Productions on YouTube, and you can also find him every Friday here. We'll be playing his playback. So we're gonna take another quick break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Thanks for tuning in.
When you look at the way other groups do with their children, like black people, our main concern seems to always be making sure they play football. And I like football like the next person, but the reality is, statistically, your child has a better chance of being an astronaut than becoming an NFL football player. So I don't understand the emphasis where we all just always so pumped up on football. Like when my son was a kid, every time somebody would say, "Do you have kids?" And I said, "Yeah, I got a son." The first thing out their mouth, men, women, whoever, would be, "Does he play football?" You know, and I'm like, yeah, but you know, like, is that the end of all means?
Right.
You understand me? He plays football, and it saddens me because nobody's getting results out of that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, okay, your child hot, he played football, he good in rec league and high school, and then he plays in college. He don't go to the NFL. That's few and far and in between.
Then what happens?
Right. Well, I'll tell you what happens. He's 30 years old with arthritis in his neck, in his ankles, and everything from going head up, cracking heads. You understand me? For 11 years, and he ain't but 32 years old, and now he's jacked up.
The Exposed Radio.
Let go of our anger over it. We can say, you know what?
Yep.
We knew that would come. We knew better, and we were allowing something to happen. We almost fostered, maybe even
bring it on yourself.
Yeah, indulged in it to the point where that person could take advantage of us because we created a false, you know,
a whole false everything. Yeah.
Well, really, what happens is what you said before, because if you know who you are, and when you connect with someone who isn't fully who you want them to be, you start to find reasons to fill in those gaps to satisfy your own need, to make yourself believe they are who you want. You know that the first day. So when you go down the road and you get to that one day when those gaps are, the plug is pulled out, I knew it.
Hey.
I knew it.
I knew it was coming.
But why did you do it?
Yeah, you set yourself
up. Because you thought it was the closest thing to fulfillment. So you accepted it, and you figured you could do what? Change the person.
You know what's funny?
That's why
I never thought I could change the person. You know who I thought I could change?
The behavior.
No, you know who I thought I could change?
Yeah.
I thought I could change me. I thought I could mold or manipulate myself to
adapt to that person.
To adapt to that person. And that was actually, and I'm glad I went through this experience, because that was when I realized, no, there are
Salacious Life Radio. Time for a flashback.
Now, I'm not gonna say all Aries though. So since we're talking about the book, can you give people a synopsis of what the book is and what is, and what's the name of the book again, and then what it's about?
The name of the book is From Trial to Afflictions. More than one, because there were more than one afflictions.
Yes.
The book is talking about, actually, it's my life story. And I have to add in there that when that prophet told me, he said, tell your story, write the story. He said, and God said, tell your addiction. Now, see, I'm not going to tell the addiction because you have to get the book to read it. But it was about deliverance. It was about all the, trials and tribulations we go through. People that come into our life, even people that come to try and break you down or draw you down so that you can't stand for God or worship Him through your situation, because that's the adversary using them. We have to know that. But through it all, I was still praying and fasting. I needed help from God. I really did. I needed help from God to see me through. And for anyone that's going through, I say that this book is about different afflictions.
Yes.
Going through them, how you get through them. And I had a sister pushing me too, praying for me. I thank God for that again.
Yes.
But it also talks about deliverance. There is deliverance in the process.
Yes.
And you have to be willing to see yourself first, to know that you need deliverance.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show. Now here's one little speech I'm going to give you before I get into the next article. Here's what I want to tell you. Still, fear is big business. Fear is big business. I'm not telling you not to be alarmed by what you're seeing. I'm not telling you not to be concerned. What I am saying is not to buy into the notion that we should be afraid. You should be informed. You should be aware. You should start educating yourself about about some things, I don't have the solutions. I don't have the answer. I wish I could say that if you did X, Y, and C, you might not get shot by the police. I wish I could tell you that, but I can't. But what I can say is just start making yourself aware of what's going on, but don't be so consumed by what you're seeing that you become afraid, that you don't want to go out. Or you become numb. That's a good point, Nate. Nate said,
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
What's up, and welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host, Nate. The clip before that you were watching in the segment before, it was from Motivational Mondays, a really positive, phenomenal young man, Mr. Miles Banks. I went to St. Ignatius Loyola Academy. We didn't go at the same time, but we were kind of at the same school. And we came to meet each other about a year and a half ago, meet back up a year and a half ago. And he's been really instrumental in this, keeping my mind flowing and being able to work with each other. So he interviewed me on his podcast, Motivational Mondays, that he does every Monday. They're pre-recorded, and we're going to help him with pushing his message, and we're cross-promoting with each other, and we'll be playing his show on the show. And then you'll be seeing and hearing a lot more from Mr. Miles Banks as well in some of our out of the studio events. So if you want to partner with the Artist Exchange and you want to bring your artistry, and let's connect and figure out how we can work together, definitely email me, the Artist Exchange Radio Show at gmail.com. If you're listening right now, call in 410-702-5657. Shout out your business, what you're about, who you are, and I'll give you the opportunity to talk as well. Again, I'm really thankful for everybody that continues to support us. I shouted out the Pill Center before, but up next is Jeremiah's Call. I'll be going to New York on next Friday, so I won't be here live, but I'll be here remotely, and we'll be checking out Mr. Sonny Dumarseille. He'll be doing his first EP release party at the I'm messing up the name, the Lancey in New York City. I think that's the East Village area. Tickets are $10. So if you're in or will be in the New York area on the 9th of March, definitely come on by, celebrate with us. This young man, Sonny, he's a really hardworking man. He's traveling the world now. He's a musician, and I don't know how to describe his style of music, but it's live instrumental, kind of jazzy, R&B-ish style music. So definitely come on out. If you will be in the New York area, I'll be there, and we'll be celebrating with Mr. Sonny Dumarseille, Ms. Natasha Richberg of Jeremiah's Call, his manager. So we'll be there celebrating. Also, the last Saturday of every month is normally dedicated to authors that we interview. So this month we'll be cut a little bit short, so we'll be rescheduling that. So definitely stay tuned, stay locked in for more information. Also, second Saturdays is dedicated towards our Maker series, and that may also be a little different this week. So we may be actually interviewing people while we're in New York. So definitely stay tuned for more information on that and other things. If you're on the live, shout out to you all, Mr. Linwood Davis for tuning in, Mr. Nice, Ms. Geneva, everybody that's tuned in, that's locked in. I appreciate everybody for what you do. Like I said yesterday, and we're going to talk, not after the next segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the premiere that I went to yesterday. It was a film premiere called Water in a Broken Glass, and it was really good. It was a story of a young lady, an artist, finding herself, discovering her sexuality, discovering who she is, and her point of view as an artist, and her place in the world, identifying and being in love with the skin you're in. It was so many different themes and conversations, but it was all cohesive. It premiered yesterday at the Senator Theater. Phenomenal, booked crowd. Like, it was a lot of people there, so a lot of familiar faces. Shout out to everybody that came out and supported Miss Odessa and her book being turned into this film. and directed and screen wrote by Mr. Mel. Phenomenal young videographer, definitely on the come up from the DMV area. So I was really happy for everybody that came out, and everybody was very positive, everybody was very supportive. There was a lot of conversations going on in the lobby. So it was really great to be in that environment and be in that creative space. And I've been really focused on a couple things, and I've kind of buried my head in the sand a little bit because a lot of things were not going my way, and I was finding myself repeating some of the same mistakes over and over again. And you know, I'm not going to say I'm never going to do that again, but my intention is to never do it again and really focus on why I'm here and what I'm here to do, and who am I here to serve and be a blessing to. So that's my focus. And without, you know, being too preachy and too, you know, sappy about it, like really hang on to those individuals that are around you, that are giving you love and support. Be mindful of those who are only there to steal, kill, and destroy. Like, and I hate being a negative person. I really do. And I don't use that word too often. But I really hate being around negativity, and I hate being negative. So if you find yourself like this in a space of you not knowing what's next or what's coming up, or you may be in a space of just not knowing, definitely just stay focused. Like, just keep moving. Don't stop. Sometimes you got to slow down a little bit to regroup and refocus your energy, but definitely just stay positive. Stay in it. You know, it's easy to like just stop and just go in a different direction, go clock in at somebody else's job, but definitely stay focused. So in the next hour, we're gonna talk a little bit about parents broadcasting their parenting on Facebook Live or whatever that may be. It's really annoying. Insecurity in adults. And then lastly, a little bit about entrepreneurship, but we're going to wrap up the conversation. We're talking about raising young people to be weak. And I've been seeing a lot of that in the last couple of weeks. So we're going to touch on that. So stay locked in, stay tuned in. We're here live on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Thanks to everybody that's tuned in. Stay tuned. I'm going to talk to you live on air, so just keep talking. Peace out. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Just a Bit Outside Radio Show.
There is one glaring stat that I read about while watching the games over the weekend. New York Yankees went 22 straight innings with at least one strikeout.
Really?
That's a major league record for the postseason.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting statistic.
It is, you know, and then when you think about it, it's like, okay, you know, that, to me, that's like a big reason why, you know, they're losing right now.
The Artist Exchange Radio Show.
You know what I'm saying? And I just came home from jail. Mm-hmm. I've been home maybe 6 months, 7 months, somewhere around there. And I'm so tired of losing people.
Right.
So when I wrote this song, like, I cried while I wrote it. I cried listening to the instrumental that was made by Doughboy Music. Mm-hmm. I even cried recording it. And when I got to the part where like I broke down on the song, my brother was like, "Yo, you want me to stop it?" And I was like, "Nah, just let it rock." You know what I'm saying? Because in situations like when you lose people, especially the violence, it do something to you. Mm-hmm. Especially coming from there. And, you know, trying to change the whole situation around
right.
to try to do something positive, and you just keep losing people. Keep losing, man. It's hard, man.
It's something that when you losing somebody to something that is like cancer, where you couldn't prevent it.
Right.
It's just, you know, a lottery system, but
it don't hurt as bad.
Right, but when it's something senseless,
right, and it's taken
could have been prevented.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you
it's an added element. It's an added element to the grief that you feel when it's a senseless act of violence.
Yeah.
So in terms of using your music to help your communities, how do you see that happening for you?
My next one's here.
It's very much so possible because I have songs that
The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. every Saturday from 12 to 2 p.m. Real artists, real talk, and real live. Be Exposed Radio.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show. So since we're talking about the book, can you give people a synopsis of what the book is and what's the name of the book again, and then what it's about?
The name of the book is From Trial to Afflictions. More than one, because there were more than one afflictions.
Yes.
The book is talking about, actually, it's my life story. And I have to add in there that when that prophet told me, he said, tell your story, write the story. He said, and God said, tell your addiction.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Nurturing spirit, nurturing the intellectual capabilities of all people, to a place where black people in Baltimore couldn't go to school, first of its kind. Even despite the deplorable conditions of the space, they still came because they wanted to be nurtured. It's so apropos that this is the 200th birthday of Frederick Douglass, a man who defined his legacy. A man who defined his legacy on education. Born enslaved, with the rule saying that you don't teach a slave to read, because the moment they learn to read, they are no longer fit to be a slave. He took those words and made sure he would never be a slave again, to the point that he traded food for education. He became one of the most powerful orators of his time, really all time, the most photographed American of the 19th century. The one thing I appreciate about Frederick Douglass, he was so intentional with what he did. Everything was by design. There's a reason we always had to turn look on his face. There's a reason he progressed so much, because even back then, he realized how powerful media was in telling a story. And he valued education so much. And it's so honoring for me to be in this space, because I've been fortunate to have an education that Frederick Douglass was really proud of. Being able to go to the French School of Baltimore, when at one time black people weren't allowed to be there. Going to the University of Maryland, where certain people fought to the death to make sure that people like me would never be there. Going to get my PhD at Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. Telling the story of my people, telling the story of my city. So I like to fancy myself a living example of what education can do for a black boy like me. So I encourage you all to continue to nurture your mind, to continue to nurture your spirit, to really take in the essence of this place, and to use that as a catalyst for showing that everyone has the capability and the capacity to nurture all that they are meant to be. Thank you.
Who wanted to come in and sit down, and maybe people want to rearrange and move forward. This might be a good moment to just take a quick break and do that.
Come sit up close. When you're in church, the pastors don't want you to sit in the back, so move on up front. Move up front. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It's always a pleasure to come back to the place that gave me my start in life. I toiled here for many a decade trying to preserve, promote, uncover, connect the dots, and raise up the ancestors to their rightful place of significance in Baltimore. As I go around the country to speak, I carry Baltimore with me in my heart, because in my mind there's no place better for African American history and culture than Baltimore. From the free black community during the antebellum up until right now, the historic footprint and legacy is phenomenal. So today I'm going to give you a quick teaser. It's kind of like a trailer for a movie, or it's kind of like happy hour where you got a little bit of free hors d'oeuvres, but then you got to go and do something else. In 45 minutes, there's no way I can quickly take you through the hundreds of important people, buildings, activities, and occurrences that help to make the colored school system one of the top 3 colored school systems in the country from its inception. I would like to just briefly mention that Kimberly Springle from DC, from the Sumner School and Archives, DC represents one of those other early, late 1800 Reconstruction era school systems that rivaled Baltimore's colored school system. And the third one would be Sumner in Kansas City. So in other words, Baltimore was and still is in high cotton, as the old folks used to say. So, I like to get started, and I like to say that it's always a gift to me when my mother, who came out of the Jim Crow school system, can travel with me. And here is my mom, and I just wanted to stand up and wave, please.
And I want you to know I'm staff and I don't get paid.
Okay, so on a serious note, this is living Jim Crow Brown v. Board right here. So I grew up understanding her struggle and her experiences, and some of those experiences are absolutely priceless, and I wish that we could do more on that, but today we're not really here to talk about all of that. We're here to talk about the colored school system here in Baltimore. I want to start off by not even going to the slide. I got one other thing to say. David really excited me with his powerful presentation because we both graduated from Friends School. The difference is, I came along decades before, but the struggle was a little different and a little harder. So I'm glad to see many years later that progress has been made with regard to diversity at the oldest Quaker school in the area. And I'd like to honor and thank Dr. Nicholas Fessenden, who is right here, who was my history teacher many, many years ago when I got hair and when he got hair. Okay. Now, down to the real stuff. Okay. You can go. What you're going to see on the screen are some pre-Civil War era school systems and school projects that took place in Baltimore. There's so many of them. I only put up a couple just to tease you with. Some of you might be familiar with a few of them. Some are really phenomenal. Many of them need more research. It's very difficult to find material culture on any of these. Often you're going to be going to other places outside of the state that might have one shred of something that can help you better interpret and understand your story. One of my personal favorites, and you'll get to this later, we'll get to this later on, is the Ebenezer AME Sabbath School in historic South Baltimore, where the Audubon and Cross Street Market is. Okay. Ebenezer AME Church Sabbath School Register. I need to back up a minute. All the items that you see in the PowerPoint come from our company's archive. The company's name is Najak & Company. We have thousands of items that have been collected from the late 1700s up until the present day from around the country. It's been a pure delight to quickly try to put something together to just tease you about the significance of the appeal of the colored school system in Baltimore and other educational activities in historic Baltimore. This Sabbath School Register is from 1881 through 1935. It documents the address, the name, and sometimes the age of the colored folk in Baltimore that attended that very important school. And that's what one of the pages look like. And what is really interesting is that you can watch a migratory pattern take place where many of the names in South Baltimore eventually move to West Baltimore. And what school are they going to be tied into? Largely the colored high school. Some you might see eventually going into Dunbar or the Carver, but the first step would naturally be the colored high school. And in the very back there's a lovely visitors registrar that has the proverbial who's who in Black history that's visiting historic Baltimore. And we just put out a few that are tied into education. Bishop Daniel A. Payne, the AME Church, who's legendary. He is connected to Wilberforce in Ohio, a very important HBCU. You have Bishop Alexander W. Wayman. Wayman is from the Eastern Shore, very much connected to Fred Douglass and Harry Tubman. But more importantly, Wayne does the closing exercise for the first graduation from the PO in 1889. Wayman is a power player. One of his historic houses is still extended in Mount Vernon. It used to be included in walking tour that we used to do many years ago. Dr. J. Marcus Carl, a very important medical doctor and city councilman in the 1800s after Harry Tubman. He was the second Black city councilman in Baltimore's history. But more importantly, he fights diligently to get colored teachers in the colored schools, and that is the fact that is largely overlooked. Bethel A&D Sunday School, how can you talk about the school system in Baltimore without the churches? And you just saw an example from Ebenezer, but Bethel goes back to the beginning of the 1800s, and this is just an original, what would I call it, engraving from their Sunday school helper. This is not the building today that is on Trial Avenue when they moved there in 1910. This is from the downtown Saratoga Street building in 1883. Now, I gotta tell you, I've been working on a book about an Underground Railroad person, a freedom seeker, for 3 years. It's been easier working on that man's journey than it has been to try to understand what was tied into these early colored schools in Baltimore. Looking at the commissioner's reports, looking at census work, looking at directories, it is very hard to figure out when they operated, at what location, who were the instructors, and more importantly, who were the students. And there's not, again, a lot of extent material culture that has survived. So you really are in a crapshoot trying to come up with something to connect to some research that you've uncovered. Many years ago, when I had no idea what in the world I was collecting, and I might say that I've always been walking with divine order, divine intervention, something told me to buy all these receipts. I ended up buying a couple hundred receipts from Baltimore City from the Civil War up until the 1890s. Within that treasure trove happened to be some magnificent receipts that years later I can use to connect the dots and better to interpret the early public school system in Baltimore. So what is interesting is I'm trying to learn, along with the others, where the female colored schools, number 2, when it started, where it was, what's there today, and who attended there. This is all kind of critical information that helps us to better understand what was available for colored students in historic Baltimore. This is a Commissioner of Public Schools report from 1871. And actually, without me even telling you, there's going to be a disparity of funds. And you can see with the graph that we have on page, the white colored schools, September 1871, white schools got 95.2% of the budget, and the colored schools got 4.8. And I'm saying that to say that with less, we've always done that. Historically, no matter if the building was dilapidated, if the books were used and had nasty words in it, if there was overcrowding, the black students and black teachers always were able to overcome those obstacles and excel.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. That was a clip from 2 weeks ago at the Pill Center. They do a monthly lunch and learn lunch talk series. The next one will be March the 16th. It's actually a presentation on Frederick Douglass and his 2 wives. He married 1 black ex-slave and one white woman. So the controversy between those two marriages and just being a black man at that time, all that will be discussed March the 16th, 12 to 1. Come on down to the Pill Center, get your lunch and learn on. Bring your lunch, come on down and talk with us. More information is on our radio show page. Or you can go to thepillcenter.org and learn more. So we're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere.
Be Exposed Radio.
Let me do that.
There's certain things for everybody.
Yeah, like,
you know what I mean?
There's a time and a place for everything.
Exposed Radio.
Well, if you made them, take care of them.
Yeah, that's
Period.
the real. That's the real deal.
It's period.
You are now listening to Just a Bit Outside, a sports radio show at BeExposedRadio.com.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m.
Check out this snippet from the new season of Talk Lately with Monty about Jennifer Holliday.
Anyway, when you look at the way other groups do with their children, like black people, our main concern seems to always be making sure they play football. And I like football like the next person, but the reality is, statistically, your child has a better chance of being an astronaut than becoming an NFL football player. So I don't understand the emphasis where we all just always so pumped up on football. Like when my son was a kid, every time somebody would say, "Do you have kids?" And I said, "Yeah, I got a son." The first thing out their mouth, men, women, whoever, would be, "Does he play football?" You know, and I'm like, yeah, but you know, like, is that the end of all means? Right. You understand me? Right. He plays football, and it saddens me because nobody's getting results out of that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, okay, your child hot, he played football, he good in rec league and high school, and then he plays in college. He don't go to the NFL. That's few and far and in between.
Then what happens?
Right. Well, I'll tell you what happens. He's 30 years old with arthritis in his neck, in his ankles, and everything from going head up, cracking heads. You understand me? For 11 years, and he ain't but 32 years old, and now he's jacked up.
So since we're talking about the book, can you give people a synopsis of what the book is and what's the name of the book again, and then what it's about?
The name of the book is From Trial to Afflictions, more than one, because there were more than one afflictions.
Yes.
The book is talking about, actually, it's my life story. And I have to add in there that when that prophet told me, he said, tell your story, write the story. He said, and God said, tell your addiction. Now, see, I'm not going to tell the addiction because you have to get the book to read it. But it was.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up, and welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. Again, the clip that was playing before is just a snippet of the Lunch and Learn series. It first featured Mr. Philip Morrell. You probably know him from a lot of like the Antique Roadshow, or he does a lot of symposiums on history. He has a lot of memorabilia dealing with the educational system. If you did not know, and the reason he was at the Peel Center, because if you did not know, the Peel Center was the first school for colored students in Baltimore City. And it also was the original site for City Hall. So it has a lot of history. They're going through a lot of renovations. So definitely check them out. ThePillCenter.org. I'll be working with them closely. We'll be starting a new live interview series down there with the Artist Exchange. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm very excited. And we'll be shooting my first short film directed by me. Written by Latanya Valencia Moss, soon to be Dr. Latanya Valencia Moss. And it will be shot and filmed by my partner in crime now, Mr. Titus Burrell, husband of Miss Be Inspired, who will actually be in the play. It'll be in a movie. It was a play, but now it's a movie. This is actually the 10th year for Boot Prints. It's a phenomenal read. I love this play. It's really connected to my story. I was raised by a lot of really strong-willed black women who took no no stuff. And this play is kind of reverse of that. It's the effects of what happens when one generation does not protect the next generation. And it's a story with 3 women characters in it, and we're shooting it as a film. We're doing it as a film, rather. It was originally a one-woman show, and once I started directing it, I've added 3 women, and now for the 10th year for it, which is actually this month, we're celebrating 10 years of Blueprints. It was actually, I kind of fused the idea of turning it into a film. Wanted to work with Mr. Titus Burrell and getting an opportunity to do so now. So we'll be shooting soon, starting to shoot soon in the March. And we'll be rolling out all the PR and all the marketing. And we're actually doing a crowdfunding. So we would love for you to come and join us and help us out. We need your help. So we'll have more information on that. So for the last couple weeks, I've been doing a lot of workshops and going in and out of different types of meetings and art events and stuff like that. And I've seen a lot of young people at some of these events. And I've watched how parents, as well as instructors and teachers, and just the system in general, has weakened our students. Speaking of that, we had was today a snow day? It snowed for maybe, right, but it snowed for maybe like 20 minutes and nothing stuck. Nothing was slippery. The ground wasn't even wet. It was a little cold outside and it was really windy. I'll say it was really windy outside. But they closed schools because of wind. Now, I don't know, who all listening grew up with Mayor Kirk Smoke, but if you were a student when Mayor Smoke, now president of UB, was mayor of this city, and even Sheila Dixon didn't play when it came to school closings. You went to school in snow. That's what snow boots were for. That's what snow, like it had to be something drastic outside for Mayor Smoke to close. And trust and believe, a little wind would not have hurt anybody. But I understand them being super sensitive because the weather was kind of unpredictable, but let them out early. Don't just leave them, because it got really sunny outside after it finished snowing. Like, really, Baltimore weather is unpredictable. And we already have too many young people that are reading way below their reading level, comprehending. You changing the rules and adding tests every day, trying to help them, I understand, but it's too much stuff is going on where our young people are not prepared for life, let alone higher education or just literacy or the basic elements, math, reading, comprehension. They're not on that level. So every opportunity that the school system gets and the government gets, state government gets, they shut down schools. And I think that was the dumbest thing. Now, I don't know if it snowed in a county or if it was like icy in a county, because often the weather is a little bit worse in the county than it is in the city. So I understand that, but it was just windy outside. And a lot of parents were really mad because a lot of parents had to take off the day because their children were out of school, and it was just out of nowhere. Now, I know the weather was supposed to be a little bad, but it was literally just windy outside. Now, it was cold and windy, but that's what coats are for. That's what, like, snow boots are for. And it literally, like I said, it snowed for maybe 20 minutes here in Baltimore. About that, I'll say a half an hour just to be saying, like maybe a half an hour, and they literally closed the schools down. But the schools were closed early today. It wasn't even, when I'm talking, remember it was like 9 o'clock when it was snowing, but I digress. But my point in saying that a lot of people are raising weak children is because we're allowing children to be lazy. I went to a meeting earlier this week, and one of the students, they did not want to catch the bus. So the parent then tried to persuade the whole organization, this young organization for young people, to move their program to a whole nother location. So this one student did not have to catch a bus. And for me, first of all, they were being they got a stipend for being there, and these were high school age children. These weren't middle school age children, and I just feel like I wasn't leading this organization or this group meeting that day, so I had to like pause my mouth because the Nate in me was like, you could get on that bus. They just gave you umpteen dollars, as a stipend for being a part of this. You can take that money, call an Uber, and be here. Like, get with it. But the facilitator, one of the facilitators, I saw one adult after another kind of like, okay, maybe we can move this, maybe we can. And the place is real central to everybody. And it doesn't take much, to get places because the subway is closed. Catch a bus, like get an Uber. Uber is really inexpensive, but young people don't think about stuff like that. And then adults try to pamper them and really take away a lot of the oomph that they had, and maybe I can say that because, I believe like 4th or 5th grade, I started walking to school by myself, and I did not live that far, but by the time I got to middle school, I was catching a bus all the way downtown from like Forest Park area, and then eventually a little bit closer to the county, like just really getting to school on my own. And by the time I got to high school, I was going way on the other side of town. Like, so we weaken our children and don't prepare them for what life is. Because I've seen young people who don't like going to school when it's bad weather outside, or if it's raining, or if it's snowing. And I don't remember having those options as a child. The only way I got out of school if the school was closed, or if I was so sick. And I had to prove how sick I was. But I really don't get it, because now we have adults that when it rains outside, I don't think I'm going to work today. I'm going to think I'm going to call out. And we've all been there as adults too. But bills got to be paid, roof got to be over your head, and all those things. So, yeah. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about this epidemic of parents parenting their children live on Facebook. So I had a video clip that I wanted to play. So we're going to listen to that, and I want your reaction to it. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Thank you for tuning in to BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
What does hustle hard mean to you? What does that signify in your life?
That's a lifestyle for me. You know what I mean? Like, true story, I was born into a family in a community of hustlers. Now, let's get focused right quick, because when people hear the word hustler, they confuse it with con artist or something negative. So they like to call people entrepreneurs, right? But the definition, and I'm paraphrasing, but the definition of hustle is a forced movement or to be hurried, right? But we're not talking about just pushing other people. Sometimes you got to push yourself, and that what makes you a hustler. True story. So the thing about it is, like, when it comes to hustling, listen, quick story. I used to go buy juleps a lot, right? And my grandmother used to make me clean the yard, shovel snow, do things like that to go get a julep. But one day she was like, look, you putting all your money in someone else's pocket. Word. Save those quarters, and I can teach you how to make a formula, and you can sell your own juleps. You understand? So the next couple weeks, I saved my money.
Always a hustler.
Listen,
got to love
but think
everybody
about
got
this.
a grandma story like that.
Grandmothers are the natural hustlers because they were the ones who maintained and sustained our families through epidemics. You're talking Big Mama went through slavery and held it. You're talking Big Mama went through the Depression and held it. Big Mama went through crack and held it and still maintains it today. So if you don't think you come from a hustler, then you don't know where you come from. You understand?
That's so real.
I began to sell juleps, and ever since then, I capture a hustle. And a hustle is not a swindle. It's not a sneaky thing. It's up front. You're providing a need. You understand? So you're the bridge. If you're a true hustler, you're trying to be the bridge. If somebody's on one side and they need to get the other, you're trying to be the bridge, fill in the gap. So hustling is a lifestyle. It's not something you can do 10 minutes out the day. It has to be something you live.
Word.
Hey, what's up? This is Nate, host of the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Tune in every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live, here live on BeExposedRadio.com.
You know, when you look at the way other groups do with their children, like black people, our main concern seems to always be making sure they play football. And I like football like the next person, but the reality is, statistically, your child has a better chance of being an astronaut than becoming an NFL football player. So I don't understand the emphasis where we all just always so pumped up on football. Like when my son was a kid, every time somebody would say, "Do you have kids?" And I said, "Yeah, I got a son." The first thing out their mouth, men, women, whoever, would be, "Does he play football?" You know, and I'm like, yeah, but you know, like, is that the end of all means? Right. You understand me? Right. He plays football, and it's and it saddens me because nobody's getting results out of that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, okay, your child hot, he play football, he good in rec league and high school, and then he plays in college. He don't go to the NFL. That's few and far and in between.
Then what happens? Right.
Well, I'll tell you what happens. He's 30 years old with arthritis in his neck, in his ankles, and everything from going head up, cracking heads. You understand what I mean?
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
You done? Okay. Now you see I asked for your daddy, right? I called him for you, right? And you hear what he was saying, right? So I just want you to know that mommy's trying, okay? But I can't make somebody do something that they don't want to, and that's what I want you to understand growing up. Alright? Yeah. But I did call him, right? You heard him talking to me? And I told him to come get you, and he said no, right? Yeah. Now you see why mommy don't want to call him when you ask for him? Oh, don't say that, babe. You got a daddy. He your daddy. Oh.
So, welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. I'm going to start off by saying I have this young artist friend. She's a phenomenal, this artist, teacher, mom, educator, all those things, musician. Shinyir Wright, shout out to her. She is a stuff starter. If you are friends with Shinyir, she shows you how to have debates and what to talk about. I'm not talking about Kim Kardashian, none of that. Some of her comments be real pop culturist, but a lot of it makes you think. So today, she posted this clip on Facebook. Now, I am a grown man. I'm 34 years old. I had a dad that was not present in my life. I can admit that as a 34-year-old man and be over it and not be angry and frustrated and want to punch somebody in the face. Because I've worked through some things, you know, punched a couple walls and such. But I'm actually really much so over it. What I can start with saying after that is my mother has never said anything negative about my father as long as I lived. Now, she may have said it when I wasn't around, to her girlfriends, to her sisters, you know, so on and so forth, but she never said it to me. To him, probably, but she never said it to me. I learned about who my father was or who people perceived him to be from other people. So the frustration that I had with my dad was based on other people talking, not my mother. Not to say that they were right, or she was right or wrong, but I never heard it from her. So I was allowed to draw my own conclusions outside of these outside sources giving me information. My issue with this video is, one, parents have turned Facebook Live into this kind of collateral, or this shout out to whoever the bad parent is in a relationship. And often you see a child or hear a child in the background or in the forefront of this movie. Or we see parents punishing their children on Facebook Live as part of a punishment. One, for the parents that punish their children on Facebook, which this video clip did not do. We're going to get to that conversation in a few seconds. One of the things that happens is parents often feel the need, and there's a lot of young parents, but I see a lot of older parents doing it too. But do you realize this is permanent? Like, this is going to be on the internet forever. Until you die, until your grandchildren die, until their grandchildren, it's going to always be on the internet for as long as the internet is around. It's permanent. So this child may have done something wrong, and you decided to punish them. I'm not saying your parenting skills is off, but you posting it makes it a bad thing. You posting makes this a horrible thing. And I shudder to imagine this child's life if somebody finds this. Say they become a celebrity and somebody pulls this off the internet and now posts this, and your child already has hostility because you've embarrassed them probably their whole life. If you're doing this everywhere. So I have an issue with that. Now, on to the issue of this video. Now, my problem with then the video that we just saw is I see the parent, the mother in this situation, she has issues with this dad. So we don't know what the story is. We don't know why the dad didn't want to or could not come and get the child or take the child or whatever the story may be. We don't hear any of that. So I don't want to draw any conclusions on stuff that we did not hear. I'm only basing this off of what I hear. And I hear a lot of young women, single mothers, who are going through this. But for me, I always see it as an issue that the parent one parent is having an issue with another parent, and then they bring the child in on it. That child does not need to have an opinion about an issue that's between you and another adult. And it was a lot of conversation, and surprisingly, there were men on this thread saying, hey, really applauding the mother for doing what it is, maybe because they've been a hurt child themselves. And that's the only way I can see another man having that viewpoint. And I've never been hurt in that way. I've seen children hurt in that way, and I've experienced it in my face, but I've never personally been that child where my mother degraded or downrated my father in front of me. So I don't know what that feels like. She gave me the option of having a relationship with my dad and the way I wanted to, without coming in between it or not causing any friction, and actually opening it up for me to be able to go and see him when my father's family wanted to come get me, and not making it a tug-of-war issue. I have problems with this because, one, you're doing it live. The fact that you're doing it at all is detrimental to that young person's mental stability, because now they have an opinion of their father based on how their mother feels, not based on how they personally are allowed to feel. Children are parents' legal responsibilities for a reason. They're not how can I say, children are not allowed to vote, they're not allowed to drive, they're not allowed to do responsible adult things because they're children. So you having a cry session with your child, now that's not a problem. You telling your child the truth. Now this child looks like she may be about 5, maybe 6, no more than 5. She don't look more than 5. You should not be having that level of conversation with your child. And then if you listen to the video clip back, she played the father's response. So she talked to the father on speakerphone where the child could hear it. Like, I think that's a problem. Like, let that child, even though the father may not deserve a relationship, the child deserves the relationship. The child, and some children look at their parents as like superheroes, regardless of who they really are. And then you learn as you get older, and my parents are a little flawed. They got problems. They may, been abusive or cheated or, been rolling stones or addicts or whatever may have you, but that should not separate the child from their relationship. If it's possible to have a relationship, it should not be that way. But that video clip really just did something to me, and it really made me angry that people were defending her behavior. Now, I understand a mother or a parent in general that's a little frustrated with how the other parent is acting, or you have a parent that doesn't want to be a parent or works too much and doesn't really spend the quality time or whatsoever, doesn't pay child support, so on and so forth. But it's your responsibility to keep that child in the most healthy situation. And you and the child having a cry session on Facebook Live is not healthy, especially when you are involving that child in adult situations. Now, I don't believe in lying to a child. So if the child, in fact, asks for their dad, I think there's not necessarily a standard answer that you give to a child, but you don't go into personal feelings in terms of your response to your child, because it sounded like the mother was having a bad relationship. It didn't necessarily feel like that the dad just wasn't there or didn't want to be there. It just felt like, and I don't want to assume why the father couldn't be there, but it just sounded like something personal between the two parents, and it had nothing to do with the child. A lot of people wrote on that thread, maybe the mother should have let the child just talk to the dad on the phone. Or maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't have did a Facebook Live with your child on the phone. It really just took me back, and it made me go back to all those video clips where parents were punishing their children live on Facebook Live, cutting their hair halfway off, giving them like old man haircuts, and just degrading them or beating them or punishing them on Facebook Live, something that can live for the rest of their lives. So if that child grows up and becomes a serial killer, I can understand why, because their parent has humiliated them in front of the entire, not their neighborhood, not in front of their friends, but in front of the whole world. Like, how do you expect for children to then grow up and be objective and respectful of you if this is the level of respect that you give to them? And I wonder how that young lady is going to grow up. And one day she's going to go back to her mom's page, and this going to come up in like one of those anniversary pictures, like this time in 2018, and this video clip comes up on your page, and your child sees that. And it's funny to the parent at that point. And I'm not taking away the stress that mom obviously is having, but it sounds like she's having an issue with that dad herself. Because the young lady the little girl is only crying because she see her mom crying. So go back, you can go back to either Shinya Wright's page, or you can go, I think I shared it on my personal page as well, Nate VashtiBlue Couser. You can go and look it up. And just, I hate having an opinion about it, but it just made me feel some kind of way. And then the responses to it, where people were laughing, like kind of demeaning the mother, and then going at her hard or agreeing with her. Like, I don't agree with agreeing with her at all. I don't agree with bashing her, but at the same time, it just was wrong, and it just was out of place to me, and it felt awkward and just wrong on so many different levels that you would use Facebook Live, social media, even if you wrote about it, it's still wrong, because this is something permanent that your child can go back and see, or somebody's parent or somebody's teacher can then go see at a school, and they talk in front of these children like they stupid. So somebody's teacher could have been watching this video and sharing it, and I still understand her frustration, but I don't understand her reaction to her frustration. You putting your child out there in a world, whether you're punishing your child or simply talking about your baby mother or your baby father. Like, I think that's not the place. I don't think you should ever air out anything like that. I used to write little things in my Facebook, and I stopped doing that a long time ago because it's, even though it's you venting, it's your page, you can do what you want to do. I just think it's a certain level of negativity that's going to live forever. You know, most of that stuff, you can't even find it. You can only go back but so far on your timeline. So that's living there forever for somebody to be able to randomly come by. Not to be caring about what people think, but just think more of yourself, and especially your children, to not put that type of information out there. So that was kind of my go-off moment with that. I wanted to reach out to Miss Odessa and congratulate her on such a awesome production, and that was at 10 a.m. I don't think that was her, but I think this may have been her. So I'm just going to throw caution with the wind and just call her and see who it is. 30 seconds. I don't know who this is. So we're going to go to a quick break, and I'm going to try to call Miss Odessa and see if she's available. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Hello.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired Radio Show. Now here's one little speech I'm going to give you before I get into the next article. Here's what I want to tell you. Still, fear is big business. Fear is big business. I'm not telling you not to be alarmed by what you're seeing. I'm not telling you not to be concerned. What I'm saying is not to buy into the notion that we should be afraid. You should be informed. You should be aware. You should start educating yourself about some things. I don't have the solutions. I don't have the answer. I wish I could say that if you did X, Y, and Z, you might not get shot by the police. I wish I could tell you that, but I can't. But what I can say is just start making yourself aware of what's going on, but don't be so consumed by what you're seeing that you become afraid, that you don't want to go out. Or you become numb. That's a good point, Nate. Nate said, or you become numb to it, like you just don't care. So we need you to just continue to be in touch with what's going on, but educate your family, talk to your sons, talk to your daughters, because it's not just limited to men. We know from Sandra Bland, she was a young woman who was killed. And we don't want to say, we don't know all the details behind what happened. No. The fact is that person's life still matters. They still have rights. They should not just be killed dead before they even get a trial. Okay, that's the point. They deserve a trial at least, but they can't even make it to the jail cell to get a trial to be tried. They're being killed even before arrest. Terrible. So that's my soapbox.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You want to start off?
I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles.
Right.
They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run.
Mm-hmm.
The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course, won with a home run.
Hit the home run.
Right.
They were going into that National series. It seemed like they were doing so well, and they just crapped out. They got that game postponed, so who knows when they're going to replay that or play that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first not for the night.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and weigh in on my who's not, and I'm going to talk about the San Diego Padres.
The Padres. That's okay. You just took my answer.
They're in last place in the NL West. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Their run differential is a negative 65, which is just horrible. So when you have, well, let me just talk about run differential a little bit. It's kind of like the
how much you're winning or losing your games by, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. It's like the margin of victory, kind of.
Right.
So when you're in a negative number, that means that you're
Then your average game, you're losing
by a whole lot.
Right.
I mean, a number like negative 65.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Sorry, I had to take a quick break. So welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. This is actually the last segment. Next up is It Is What It Is Radio Show. Love is out there swinging her bundles. She must got a date tonight. But again, this has been a phenomenal show. I just got off the phone with Miss Odessa. When I say look them up, see when they're showing that movie again, it was a phenomenal experience. I really enjoyed myself. I ended up coming into the theater a little bit late after the movie had started, so I ended up standing up, and I stood up for the entire time, and I didn't even realize it because I was enjoying myself just that much. So definitely look out for that. Again, the Impact Awards is March the 24th, 2018, and your boy, moi, will be an honoree this year. So definitely come on out. Help support the Fashion Umbrella Foundation and their efforts to help young people do more, be more, and support their efforts. It supports their Educational Honors Award, actually. And Mr. Eric, like I've said several times, he's a recipient of that award. And that's how I actually met Mr. Eric. And so the Impact Awards, March the 24th. Information, you can go to the Fashion Umbrella Foundation .org page, or you can go to our radio show page, the Artist Exchange Radio Show, and be able to find a link, and you can get your tickets there. I believe tickets, they have a special for two. I believe it's $55 for two people. Come on out. It's a nice evening, some nice conversation, entertainment. So definitely check that out. Also, at the Pill Center, they're doing the Humbug, the great P.T. Barnum. They're having a what do they call it? The lock room, or what's the room that you gotta try to get out of? So they're doing that at the Pill Center. Also, look out for Motivational Mondays with Mr. Miles Banks. I'm gonna try to get him to call in, but he doesn't. He honors his Sabbath, so it's hard getting him in on Fridays and Saturdays. Sonny Dumarce will be in New York next Friday at the Delancey for the EP release party for the Transition by Mr. Sonny Dumarce. Tickets are just $10. So if you're in the New York area, want to come up with me, hit me up. I will be there. Also, the Izzy app, Izzy Travel app, IZI Travel. Go to your app store, wherever it is on your phone or tablet, and download that. You can leave your story, and you can also listen to other people's story. And it's a cool app where it's geotagged. So wherever you are, it locks in your area. And when people, you can put them on like a Walkman and turn the app on. And as you walk through Baltimore City, and now there are people around the world that use it. So if you're walking around the city, you can click on it and you'll hear all the stories that's in that area. So each one of the stories are pinpoint geotagged, and when you in that area, you'll hear all the stories from that area. Very cool app. You can leave your story, and we'll be actually interviewing a number of those people who left the story. So your story may get picked. So we'll be doing that live at the Pill Center. So definitely stay tuned and stay locked in for that. Also, what else am I having to say? So I talked about Motivational Monday. This is Women's History Month, so I'm gonna say that last. So love on the women that you can touch, that you can feel, that you can reach out to. Before you get up and talk about Harriet Tubman or Rosa Parks or Maya Angelou, who are all phenomenal women in their own right. But spend this Women's History Month reaching out to the women that birthed you, that taught you, that inspired you, that you can touch, that you can feel, that you can remember or pick up a phone and call. This Women's History Month, like Black History Month, I focus on the people that I can physically touch. You can lift up the ancestors and the greats that are celebrities and such. But this Black History Month, along with this Women's History Month, I'm going to focus on the women that I can touch, that I can reach out to, that I can pick up the phone and call. My grandmother, my great-grandmother, all those women who raised me and were instrumental in my life. So find a woman that's instrumental in your life. Call them, write a letter to them, pray to them if they've transitioned on. But celebrate Women's History Month a different way this year. So this has been another episode of the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Tomorrow we'll have on Sons of Absent Fathers, the gentleman that leads that movement on. We'll have him on. So tomorrow at 12 p.m. here, live on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com. Peace out.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired Radio Show. Now here's more.